Yo. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the MSM podcast. I am your host, Genius Music. Oh, man. Welcome to another installment of the Ball Roundup. Man, I'm starting to notice a bit of a trend here, man. I'm starting to notice a bit of a trend. If there's one thing that I'm seeing that my fans are enjoying, it's episodes of the Ball Roundup, man. And since I can see that there's a need, trust me, I will supply. So, man, thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you so much for all the support. And, yeah, man, this is an episode of the Ball Roundup. And, I really don't want to waste too much time on niceties just because there's just so much to talk about. And I really debated like today's topic so much because I had so many different things that I wanted to cover because, like, as you know, if you're an avid sports follower, you'll notice that quite a lot of things happen, man. Like, quite a lot of things happen, whether it be in the world of motorsport, whether it be in football, even in basketball, which is what I actually wanted to get into today. So many things went down, man. As you know, we are officially in playoff mode, man. We are officially in the playoffs, and they have not disappointed at all, man, like at all. And I think that's why I chose today's focus to be NBA, even though I felt like there was so many other things that I wanted to discuss. I just felt like NBA is the most important one right now just because we're in playoff mode. And I know the Champions League final is going to be coming up soon. And I really wonder how I'm going to do that, man, because I really felt it would be necessary just to do an episode to cover that, man, purely because of the magnitude of the event, right? And I think, there's a school of thought that says perhaps I should do a live cast on that day. Will I not? I don't know, man. Y'all will just have to tune in and find out, But anyway, man, like I said, man, today we're going to be discussing basketball and more so we're going to be getting into the playoffs. And wow, man, what a first round of fixtures that we had. And I know as of me doing this episode, Game 2 would have already played for the Nets and the Celtics, the Lakers and the Suns, and the Clippers and the Mavs, right? So it kind of sucks that I won't be able to tell you the scores and be getting into that, especially considering that the Lakers game, man, I think that's really the only one I'm looking out for. I'm pretty confident that the Nets are going to absolutely obliterate the Boston Celtics. Kemba Walker can do some stuff, right? Kemba Walker could play, and he can make some really influential plays tonight. Jason Tatum, we've seen that he's dropped, more or exactly 3 games of 50 points and above. That's this season alone, man, and the brother's only, 22? And he's already posting up numbers like that, so we know he can ball. And I mean, the Celtics are going to need 50 and some from the boy if they have any chance of winning. Because, I mean, say, hypothetically, he gets you 60, right? And say Kemba Walker gets you, 15 and a few boards, right? I mean, that's about, 75? And then let's say the role players / the bench give you about 40, 50 points. That means you're still in and around 111, 121, and as much as that might sound like a phenomenal score against any other team, it's not against the Brooklyn Nets, man. Like, with the Brooklyn Nets, that just will not suffice, man. I mean, if anything is to go by, I think their last game, they combined for a combined 98. Their top 3 combined for 98. So we're not even talking about the rest of the team. We're just talking about the role players, the main stars, the main attraction. They got a combined score of 98. And obviously the bench then did their thing and the role players did their thing. And mind you, them dropping 98, this was with them shooting poorly. They dropped 98 shooting poorly at the beginning of the game. I mean, what, Kevin Durant at one point, I think he was about 1 in 4 from the 3-point line, or was it 2 in 8 or something like that? It was some crazy stat like that. And I'm thinking to myself, bruh, these guys can turn it on you doing that. Doing that, they can still beat the Celtics. And let's not forget the fact that they had an incredible defensive performance. Everybody this season has been talking about how Brooklyn can score. They might be the best offense we've seen in NBA history. But everybody has always said that their Achilles heel will be their defense. Well, it wasn't. It just wasn't, man. And as much as you'd like for it to be the case, it just wasn't. I mean, I'd love for their defense to be in shambles, I'd love for that to be the case, but it's not, man. You got guys like Claxton who can make good plays. I mean, I saw Kyrie stealing. I saw Kyrie make a steal in the Boston game, I saw James Harden making a few defensive rebounds. I'm just looking at the Nets and I'm just thinking to myself, man, these guys look unbeatable. Absolutely unbeatable. And that scares me a bit, man. That scares me being a Lakers fan, man. It makes me feel like a repeat is highly in doubt, man. Especially considering how we played our game 1 against the Phoenix Suns. Oh, man, don't even get me started on that game. Don't even get me started on that game. That game hurt me for so many different reasons. Notwithstanding the fact that LeBron and AD combined scored less than Devin Booker. Combined scored less than Devin Booker, who, let's not forget, was his first stint in the playoffs. LeBron, you got over 200 games in the playoffs? And Devin Booker scored more than you and AD combined. Let's dissect what I'm talking about for a second. Devin Booker, first game in the NBA playoffs. First time, right? Playing next to a CP3 who has had phenomenal leadership and showed phenomenal leadership to get the Phoenix Suns this far, right? And then you've got arguably the 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA right now in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and a supporting cast who, let's be honest, it's not like they're scrubs, right? You got Kuzma, you got Caruso, Montrezl Harrell, Drummond. Those are some pieces that you can work with. You've got Dennis Schroeder, those are some pieces you can work with. And then still, with that being said, you injure Chris Paul, or rather Chris Paul gets injured. And Lakers, you still can't beat him. LeBron, in the fourth quarter, Chris Paul is basically shooting with one hand. He's basically shooting with one hand, and that's when you're screaming for LeBron and AD to take control of this game. That fourth quarter was begging for a hero on the Lakers team, and nobody answered the call. And that worries me. That nobody answered that call in the fourth quarter. LeBron James, where are you? I understand you're coming off an ankle injury. I understand you've had complications this whole season. And maybe we can give you a pass. Maybe we can give you a pass. But Anthony Davis, how do we give you a pass after a performance like that. Let's put this in perspective. The game before this, Anthony Davis dropped 42 on the Phoenix Suns. 42. Now I can't even get 20? That worried me. That really worried me about Anthony Davis's performance. You're a big, and yet you're attempting all these jump shots, all these perimeter 3 shots. I mean, man, why aren't you driving straight to the net? Why aren't you driving? Why aren't you showing Devin Booker and the likes of Chris Paul that, look, man, we know you guys are a top 3 seed in the West, but you're not gonna get away with it. Why aren't you bossing up on these guys? Why aren't you showing them that you are the defending champions? Why? All these questions. Why? I had so many questions for Anthony Davis, man. I was disappointed, to say the absolute least. But I also understand this is just game 1. It is just game 1. And if you put that into perspective, LeBron has had bad game 1s before and gone on to completely dominate the rest of the playoff series. And so I'm not too worried about him. But my worry is Anthony Davis. My guy, you are our best hope for beating the Phoenix Suns, and I hope you realize it. Anthony Davis had a lot to say after the game, even went as far as saying that this is all on him, blaming himself for this performance. Now, basketball is a team sport, and I can never say that one person is ever fully to blame. However, he was correct in pointing out that he could have had a much better impact on the game, right? He could have. I mean, that we all know it. Doesn't need to be debated. We know that Anthony Davis should have done way more. We know that Anthony Davis should be getting more than at least 20 points. We know that DeAndre Ayton shouldn't be the guy who's blocking or who's defending AD and essentially keeping AD quiet for the whole game. I mean, DeAndre Ayton played 37 minutes as opposed to Anthony Davis's 39 minutes. And still, Anthony Davis couldn't score more than 20 points. Only getting 13 and 7 and 2 assists. 13, 7 and 2 assists from a guy who's arguably a top 5 player. LeBron James getting 10 assists, 18 points. He tried. Still not enough. Big Drum getting 12 points. Not enough. KCP 7 points in 35 minutes. Not enough. Dennis Schroeder 34 minutes played. Only getting 14 points, 3 assists, and 1 rebound? Not enough. Montrezl Harrell at least played 15 minutes and dropped 12 points for us. That's the type of efficiency we needed all night. That's the type of efficiency we needed in that fourth quarter. We needed so many of the Lakers to stand up. And I know usually in a game like this, the stars do what the stars do and they get their points. And the fingers might have been pointed at the supporting cast to say, look, the stars got you the points. Did you guys show up? And unfortunately in this situation, both just didn't. The supporting cast didn't do enough, but the stars just didn't show up. And that's worrying, man. And that's really worrying. And I feel like, it's still playoffs, and that's the beauty of the playoffs, right? You got 7 games, or, at least in theory, you should have 7 games to go toe-to-toe with the team, suss them out, learn their vulnerabilities, and we've seen that if ever there's one player who does this better than most in playoffs, it is LeBron James. And I have full confidence in his abilities to get us back into this game, to keep us competitive again. Because we're going to need him. Let's be honest. We are going to need LeBron to have a phenomenal game. But more so, Anthony Davis. I feel like, look, in the bigger scheme of things, LeBron is still the most impactful player for the Lakers. And I still think he's our most important piece. But I feel like in this particular series, Anthony Davis is going to need to stand up. Anthony Davis is going to need to stand up, carry the weight on his shoulders, and have a phenomenal rest of the playoff tournament. That's what he's going to need to do. Otherwise, it's going to be an uncanny first round exit for LeBron's James team, you know? And I don't think anybody in the basketball world wants to see that. I know a few haters wouldn't mind that. But I mean, for the neutrals and the Lakers fans, I'm pretty sure you don't want to see that. Clippers fans probably don't want to see that, considering how they dodged us. Ty Lue and the Clippers dodged us with 3 games to go, saying that, no, we chose health over records. We chose health over seeding. Those were Ty Lue's words. He said that no, we weren't ducking the Lakers. We were just resting our stars to make sure that they're in full health come playoff. Well, your stars were in full health, Mr. Lue. Your stars were in full health, and that still did not prove to be enough to beat Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic with a triple-double, leading his team to a victory over the Clippers. I mean, we all know the history behind this game. We all know it. And for Luka Doncic, the young man, to be the one who we talk about in a game that has Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and playoff Rondo, and yet the person that we're going to be talking about is Luka Doncic, that can't be right. That can't be right. It just baffles my mind how the Clippers just seem to just turn it off when it comes to the playoffs. Even playoff Rondo couldn't do the business for the Clippers. And man, this is interesting, man. Like, I feel like game 1 has just open things wide open. I mean, barring the Celtics game and the Philadelphia game, I think nobody doubts Philly's ability to overcome the Wizards, right? But I feel like game 1 just opened up a can of worms for all the teams, really. For all the teams, really. You know, the Clippers, you don't know, man. They need to win their game too badly. The Lakers need to win their game too badly. Realistically, the Celtics need to win their game too. But, I mean, I just don't see it happening. The bookies don't see it happening. I don't think anybody in their right mind sees it happening. Obviously, Celtic fans will be hoping it happens. But, you know, I think if we're all being honest, it just seems very unlikely that they'll get anything against this Nets team, you know. And sadly, this could be one of those that end by game 4, you know, sadly. Because honestly, I don't see where the Celtics pick up a win over the Nets. I just don't see it, right? And so, you know, you might have a scenario where all 4 of the first games the Nets win, and the series could already be done and dusted by game 4, in essence, you know. I hope from a neutral perspective, I'm hoping that's not the case, you know. You do want to at least see some sort of fight back and resilience from the underdogs, right? It's just, will it matter? That's the big question, you know. Say, like I was saying earlier, even if Jason Tatum drops career highs every single evening, it still might not be enough, you know, just considering what the big 3 of Brooklyn can do. I mean, look at it this way, right? Say Kyrie and James Harden have a bad night. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. But say they have a bad night. Well, then Kevin Durant can drop 50. Say Kyrie and KD have a bad night. Well, James Harden can drop 50 and give you, 12 assists. Say James Harden and Kevin Durant have a bad game. We all know what Kyrie can do. We all know the brother can drop you a good 40, 50 if needs must and look good whilst doing it, That's Kyrie Irving. And so with all of that being said, I just don't see where the Celtics can even get a one-up in the series. And then there's Milwaukee and the Heat. So I actually was hoping to save the teams that have already played their game 2 towards the end of the segment. And I feel like, I've discussed the first round enough. What I really wanted just to gauge from you guys, the listeners, is what are your thoughts for the game 2s as we're headed into the second round of fixtures for the respective teams, What do you think about the Lakers' chances against the Phoenix Suns? Because I'm going to be super subjective and say that the Lakers are going to win it. Objectively, though, I still feel like we can win it as long as Anthony Davis pitches up. The Anthony Davis who lifted the championship last season, if that dude shows up, I have no concern. I wouldn't even break a sweat to say that we will beat the Phoenix Suns. If that Anthony Davis who appeared on Sunday or Saturday appears, then we're in trouble. So I think a big part of this game depends on him. I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think will be more impactful? Do you think it will be Anthony Davis or LeBron? Or in fact, will Devin Booker go on to drop another 30-plus game and actually lead his Phoenix Suns, much to the detriment and the surprise of most of the world? Will he go on to lead this very young Phoenix team to a victory over LeBron and the Lakers? I hope it doesn't happen. I feel like for the ratings and so forth, that would be spectacular to see happen. But I don't think a lot of people want to see that. A lot of people want to see LeBron pushing this Lakers team as far as it needs, even as far as going to a Western Conference final against the Clippers. That's really what everybody wants to see, right? Kawhi and LeBron, Paul George and AD facing up against each other in a 7-game series. Everybody wants to see that. So I think, from a Lakers fans perspective, where I'm hoping that LeBron and AD can bounce back way stronger, So, I'd like to find out from you guys, who do you feel like will be more influential in that game? Will it be LeBron? Will it be AD? Will it be Devin Booker? Will it in fact be CP3? Even though I don't think he'll be playing this game, considering that that shoulder injury that he sustained over the weekend, right? And then it's the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks, man. I'd love to hear what you think about the prospects of the Clippers coming back and tying this series, because let's be honest, they have to, man. Because I don't think you want to be going to Dallas 0-2. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be going away and playing a team with a deficit, because not only is the pressure of reducing the deficit in your mind, but then obviously it's this stigma or this cloud that looms over the Clippers that they're known as this team that kind of can't cut it in the playoffs. So they've got two demons to worry about if they lose today. So I don't think they want to be in that position where media is talking about them as chokers, plus the fact that they have to overcome this deficit. I don't think Ty Lue and his boys want that problem, and it's just so insane, man, considering that the Clippers have in the regular season, had the best three-point percentages, and they had the highest free throw percentages, right? And yet, come playoff, they do what they do best in playoffs, man. And I guess it's no surprise that the organization still hasn't lifted a ring, man. Or and I feel like, that could just be such an interesting game, man. I'm definitely gonna be watching that game with intrigue, with a lot of intrigue, man, because obviously a big part of me wants Luka to completely knock out the Clippers, because we'll have bragging rights for a while if that happens. But at the same time, I really do want to face off with the Clippers just so we can settle the debate once and for all. But anyway, then there's the games that played this morning / last night, right? This would be the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Miami Heat. And sheesh, man, that was a rough game for the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, man. Giannis and the crew just went crazy. They went crazy. They went absolutely ballistic, man. And, as much as, yes, you can't defend against players having a phenomenal evening, you can't really foresee that happening. So as a coach, you can only prepare your team so much, right? I fully understand that. But man, for the Bucks, or rather for the Heat, to allow Giannis to play the way he did, getting 31 and 13 with 6 assists, allowing Middleton to drop 17 on you, having only played 24 points, allowing Forbes to even get 22 points, man. Like, I just feel like the Heat just didn't give enough of a defensive performance to warrant a result. And then offensively, they did even less, which sounds almost impossible. And my question is, Tyler Hero, coach, why is Tyler Hero seeing so little of the ball? The kid is ready to ball, man. Give the man a chance. Let him ball. And I just feel like the coach got it wrong on a few calls, man. And Jimmy Butler is definitely gonna need to pick up the ante, man, because to have a game like that, 2 games like that rather, it's just not good enough, man. And they 2-0 down. The next game has to be Miami. If the next game isn't Miami, they're as good as out, man. And it's gonna be absolutely embarrassing for them to go out to the same team that they knocked out in last season's playoffs. And worse, that team did it in only 3-4 games or so. So I don't think that Butler and the Heat want that. So I think they'll be ready to ball, man. I think they'll come out all guns blazing. Hopefully, one can hope for their sake, And then the other game too that played last night this morning, is the Nuggets versus Portland Trailblazers. So Dame Lillard had a phenomenal first game against Denver Nuggets, but this second game wasn't as successful as he would have hoped, man. It just things just didn't go as planned for the team. Lillard did still have a phenomenal game, dropping 42 points, but even that wasn't enough, man. And I still feel like Lillard is gonna be the telling factor for this series. I feel like Lillard can properly lead Portland to the finish line. He's that good, and he can score with such a frequency, and he's such a leader. And he's one of these that, like Steph Curry, man, the minute he's 1 foot over half court, you already got to start making plans to defend this guy, So that alone just speaks to how lethal he is, his marksmanship, and his quality as an attacker, man. Obviously, he doesn't give you as much defensively, and this is where him and CJ McCollum maybe don't give you as much defensively, right? But man, scoring, I feel like scoring-wise, right, especially if Carmelo is on the floor with Dame, I feel like Portland is the one team that could actually possibly outscore Brooklyn Nets just because of Dame and and how ferocious he can be from the three shot, from three, right? And then you also have to consider CJ McCollum can do his thing, Carmelo can do his thing, you know. I just feel like the Portland has a really strong team. They really have a strong team, and it's going to be interesting to see how far they can take their playoff run. Obviously, man, we can't not talk about the Joker, man. Nikola Jokic, obviously, he handled business, did his thing, dropping 38 points, 8 rebounds. He did his thing, man. He did what he's been basically doing the entire season. For the entirety of the season, Jokic has only missed one game. But other than that, man, he's just been Mr. Reliable for Denver. And I think that's a quality that is completely infallible. Like, you need a guy like that in your roster who you don't even have to worry. You know he's always on the team sheet, you know? You definitely need that. You definitely need a guy like that. And I think that's why Nikola Jokic probably edges Steph Curry and Joel Embiid for MVP, purely because of that. The fact that he's just been his continuity has been something to behold, you know. And with that being said, man, I just would love to hear what you guys think of Denver's chances of winning this series, because I still got Dame to win it, man. But it would be really, really interesting to see how this plays out. As things stand. It's 1-1. Also love to hear what you think about Jimmy Butler and the Heat. Will they come back? Will Jimmy Butler have a much stronger performance and lead his team to a resurgence, or will Giannis do what he's done all series and completely dominate and push his team that step closer to actually then winning the ring, rather, or not even winning the ring, winning the West, you know? Because I know that even though Giannis said what he said a few days ago about, you know, he didn't sound very sure of himself in terms of what the team is capable of achieving this season. But I think even he knows, and everybody knows, that this Bucks team is different from the Bucks team from last season, and they actually have a really good chance of doing something special. So I think they realize that, and they'll be playing to win, man. And I think that they definitely need to do that, and it'll be interesting to see how that series plays off, man. But other than that, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in, man. This is the end of the show. I am super amped, man, to see how these playoff games are going to be going, especially the Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. I definitely want to see how that game is going to pan out. But until then, man, a new Okay. I should have probably mentioned this at the top of the show, but I've got a new episode that I did a few days ago. This one was like a completely video-based episode, right? Super excited, man. That was actually like the first episode that I did in that way. So I actually want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. So that's obviously going to be dropping on my YouTube channel. I'm also going to be putting that on Instagram as well. So please don't forget the Instagram handles at @the_MSM_podcast. And for Twitter, it's at podcastmsm, you know. So yeah, just please follow, like, subscribe to my YouTube. Thank you so much for the support. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, that episode will be coming soon, but I'd love to hear what you guys think about this episode, and what are your thoughts? Who are your guys' picks to win this playoff, or this first round of fixtures? Who do you have to qualify, you know, between the Portland-Denver game, the Miami Heat game, Celtics-Nets game? I think that one is a pretty much foregone conclusion. But you know, but yeah, I'd just love to hear what you guys feel. Who do you guys think have the strongest chance of progressing? And who do you think some of the influential players will be? Who do you think the big names will be in this series? I mean, we've already seen Devin Booker writing himself or his name in the history books. So will anybody else join him from Phoenix? Or will it be the Lakers who rewrite the narrative for this game? I'm super excited to see that. Super excited to do this. And of course, man, thank you once again for all the support. Have a great week further. God bless you. Peace, love, and prosperity. Peace.
She gon' pop it.